Okay, we're in a 2010 Mitsubishi Lancer. This is a Evo MR with a 6-speed shifter, and going to show you I made two modifications on this car. One, I have a boost gauge right over here on the dash, and just so I can see what's going on. Doesn't really go into the plus unless I have it in gear. Anyway, so that's my boost gauge. It's digital. It's very compact and out of the way. And then over here I have a radar detector. That's a passport system. It's built into the car. And then the right down here by the dash is the controller. I'm going to drive it in sport mode for you guys. So we're going to go from normal to sport, and just show you what it's like driving this every day. We'll get out on the street here. Okay, we're out on the street, and we're in sport. Sport lets the RPMs go up just a little bit more, and basically it ends up shifting just exactly where you'd want to shift if you were driving a stick. So it's almost like it reads your mind and knows when to shift. Whereas in normal mode, you know, it does cruise a little bit more. It doesn't shift down quite as quickly when you come to a stop. But in sport mode, it's pretty aggressive when you get on it. So looks like I have a TT in front of me, but anyway. I've owned the car for, let's see, 8 months now. Very, very happy with the car. As far as performance and handling and everything else goes, it's just like everybody's talking about. It is refined. I've driven an Evo 9 and an Evo 8, and I believe that this version has been refined to the point where it's just a beautiful car to drive. I haven't had any problems with it whatsoever. Sometimes the only thing that ever happens is the Rockford Fosgate Navi system sometimes drops my phone out, and I have to reset up my phone, which is kind of a pain. But that's happened twice since I've owned the car, and Mitsubishi said, well, that's just kind of what they do, and you reset it up. So that's the only problem I've had with the car. Nothing else has happened. Everything else is completely bulletproof and working the way I'd like it to. As far as headlights, it's just dusk right now. The headlights, the HED headlights are pretty amazing. The brights are very, very bright. You could never use them around town. They're only for out on the road. The fog lights do light up the road right around you, you know, like every other car does. There's nothing big about that. I did make another modification. I did put in a gel cell battery in the trunk, an Optima battery. I have Optima batteries in all my cars, and I like it because there's no acid involved, and they don't never leak, and they don't have to breathe. So I think it's a little safer in the back, rather than having an acid battery with a little hose for a vent. So it's a lot of fun to be able to control my different instruments from the Navi system. You can control how the blinkers flash, and how long the door locks stay unlocked and then lock, and you can control how the doors open when you get into the car, when you touch the handles, either whether all the doors open or just some of the doors open. So anyway, there's a bunch of different neat features that Mitsubishi's put into the works, and you can handle all those things from your Navi unit. I won't do it while I'm driving right now. It's something you do while you're parked. So now right now we're at about 3,000 RPM. We're doing about 40 miles an hour, and as you can see, the tranny's not shifting down because we're in sport. If I was in normal mode, it would have already shifted probably into 5th by now, and right now we're in 3rd. If I get on it, it just takes off, and it kind of keeps the turbo wound up. So in sport, you can really just get on the gas whatever you want, and it'll be really responsive. Whereas in normal mode, if you get on the gas in normal mode, it kind of has to spool up the turbo and you've got quite a bit more lag. So basically this is a high RPM motor. It does have Super Sport, and in Super Sport mode it's just shifting between 4 and 7,000 RPM all the time. So in Sport mode I think it's shifting between 3 and 7, but it kicks down a little bit more. So anyway, more RPM, more torque, and more horsepower is what you're looking at. So tonight we have a lot of traffic on the road, and I'm sorry about that. But you can see how it's nice to drive in traffic, which I live in the San Francisco Bay Area, so a lot of my driving's in traffic. If you're thinking about getting a Evo and you live in a big city, you almost have to buy the MR. I can't imagine trying to do all the shift work with this kind of traffic all the time. And the MR is so graceful, and as you can see with the 6-speed and the paddle shifters, you can run it just like a stick. Basically this transmission is 2 3-speed transmissions with 2 clutches, and so it just switches between the 3-speed transmissions. It goes first, it has one 3-6 on one tranny, and then 2-4 on the other. Let me see, it's alright, 2-4-6 on one tranny, and 1, 3, and 5 on the other tranny. And so it just shifts between those transmissions, shifting up through the gears, which makes it shift very, very crisp, without any hesitation. So I've driven quite a few cars, the Nissans and the Acura TLs, and I've driven the BMWs. The shifting on this transmission is super, super fast. I don't think you could ever shift as fast as this transmission shifts, especially if you had a stick. But so we're gonna, on the way home here, I'm gonna turn off and take a little side street so we can open it up just a little bit. Right now we're just driving around traffic. You can shift from the paddle shifters up on the steering column on this, and you can click over and shift off the floor if you want. There's all the shifting is down here. If you click over, you can just shift, pop it up and pop it down like a lightning rod in the old days. So one nice thing about sport mode is if you're in the mountains or in the hills, if you're in sport mode, you use the brakes very, very little, because it's always shifting down for you. And one nice thing about having a 6-speed and a lot of horsepower, I took it to LA the other day and went over the Grapevine in 6th gear, which was kind of fun. So right now I am doing 25 miles an hour, and we're doing about 3,000 RPM. If I get on it, you can see it goes right up to 7, and in a split second we're doing 60 miles an hour. So I do want to take the car on the track to show you guys what it actually does. Other than that, we're just kind of driving around today. As far as the navigation goes, everything's within reach and pretty accessible. If you go ahead and just push the Navi button, then just like that, we're up and running. And then I normally have the screen set to display off, because I don't like something glowing on my dashboard while I'm driving. So.